Well, it's a never mind. Welcome to PosterCentral.com's video blog. I'm Pete Howard. Thanks for coming by. A couple of Bill Haley and his Comets, original mid-50s concert posters to show you today. And, you know, sometimes we might slag them off a little bit, but boy, was he an important part of early rock and roll history. So first we have here in 1955, Bill Haley and his Comets. You've heard me say tour blank before. This is truly a tour blank. Sorry, it's wrapped in plastic, but we'll do fine with it. See the blank space down below? That's where the venue and the ticket prices and everything would be put in. But this is what it looked like, a red, white, and blue 1955 Bill Haley and his Comets concert poster. There's their picture in the middle. What's funny is that Haley was already 30 years old. Boy, was that old for rock and roll in the 50s. Everybody was teenagers that was buying it. But of course Haley had a career as a country western artist with the Saddlemen leading up to him forming the Comets in '54, I think it was. But you know, you got those magical songs on there. Take a look at those. You've got, I can read them as they are, or I can say what they really are. They're obviously abbreviations, which I'm not too fond of myself. Shake, rattle, and roll is just shake, rattle, roll. And rock around clock to save space. And razzle dazzle. Some people might wonder, how can you date a tour blank? If it's a blank, you know, how can you really date it accurately? Well, this provides some good clues. Obviously, they want to sell tickets, and so they're putting his biggest records on there, right? Well, the first two are obvious, but Razzle Dazzle was a top 20 hit in the summer of 1955. But Burn That Candle was a top 10 hit in the fall of '55. So it stands to reason they would have put Burn That Candle on there if they could have. So that pretty much places it in the fall of '55. Of course, it doesn't hurt that we have seen a couple of these posters, at least, with venue info in there, and it's easy to tell then that it's a 1955 poster. Matter of fact, talking about a cool poster, this exact poster with the venue info filled in exists for a date from October 16th of 1955, and he's not mentioned on the poster because down here it just says October 16, ticket prices, time, and everything. Elvis Presley was opening for Bill Haley and the Comets, and that would have been really something to see Haley perform Rock Around the Clock, and then to see Elvis come out and do some of his Sun Records material. I mean, it just gives you goosebumps to think about it, doesn't it? So here we have a '55 Haley tour blank, and the bottom space not filled in. Next we have a '57 Haley tour blank where it is filled in, and that would be this yellow Tillman poster from Olympia, Washington. So I'll give you a look first, and all the writing you see on there is band autographs, by the way. Evergreen Ballroom, famous venue in Olympia, Washington. The whole band is not shown, just Bill himself, but it does say Bill Haley and his Comets, and then the opening act down there. And it's a busy poster, but of course it's also made busy by all the autographs. But it's nice. It's really nice. I really like this one. The yellow and red doesn't hurt. It really makes it stand out and everything. Kind of funny, right over Haley's head there it says, King of Rock and Roll. Now I wonder if you were able to trademark slogans like that in the mid-50s, you know, because if you had had a sharp lawyer, or if you were able to do it, imagine if you had trademarked that nickname, the King of Rock and Roll. Elvis would have had to use something else. Not that Elvis ever used the nickname, of course it was given to him by the media. But, you know, Haley, too bad he just couldn't hang on to that crown, but it's interesting to see it there on the poster. So I'm just going to sort of ignore all these band autographs, you know, they are members of the Comets and so forth, but they weren't done at the time of the show in 1957. They were done later. One of them says '01, meaning 2001 and stuff. So I'd rather just talk about the poster as it looked in 1957. So I think it's really a cool looking poster. I think it's really nice. But you know, in October of '57, let's be honest, Haley's career was in serious decline, at least as measured by the U.S. sales charts, or I should say sales and radio play. You know, the Billboard charts. He was, you know, after his last hit, See You Later Alligator, he just couldn't put out much of anything that would stick. And his, Presley and Little Richard and Jerry Lee Lewis, all those guys had come along and taken over. However, what makes this poster a little cooler is that earlier in 1957, he was mobbed by thousands in London, England. And in '58, he toured Europe and caused riots everywhere. When I say he, I mean, of course, Haley and the Comets. So they were still really kicking up a lot of commotion in rock and roll circles for the rest of the '50s. But as far as making hit singles in America, his time had passed. But still, he was the first, Haley and the Comets were the first major rock and roll act to tour the world like that, so that's pretty cool. Okay, I'm going to take a quick look at the 8 songs that are on here because I think it's really a fascinating, fun thing to do. On the left-hand side, You've got the obvious big ones. You've got three big hits there, Rock Around the Clock, Dim Dim the Lights, and Shake, Rattle, and Roll. And then you've got Dipsy Doodle. What's that? And on the other side, Miss You. What's that? Well, that's the A and B side to his new single. And, you know, Bye Bye Career. I don't know. I haven't heard them, but it's funny the way on a concert poster they put both their hit records and quite often their new single to try to plug it or draw up interest. So that's kind of funny. And then on the other side, it gets even weirder. It's just sort of like inexplicable. You're not sure. Rockin' Through the Rye. See that song title there? Rockin' Through the Rye. That was not an A-side, that was a B-side, which peaked at number 78 the previous year in 1956. Why put it on the poster? And then down below that, Teenager's Mother. See that there? Likewise, that was a B-side that peaked at number 68 last year. It's so weird they have it on the poster. And then finally, above this B-side, Miss You, this must be the B-side of the song list, but there is the misspelled See You Later, Alligator. So I'm glad they got that song on there, though. That's pretty important. And then finally, at the bottom of the poster, I saw this Dave Lewis's combo, and I thought, well, Northwest's greatest rock and roll band, a little bit of modesty going on there, right? But, you know, what the heck, it's, you know, it's an opening act or whatever. Did some research, and I find out they probably, by most accounts, were the Northwest's greatest rock and roll band. They were very much on the scene back in the mid and late 50s in the Pacific Northwest. In fact, Dave Lewis is the one in the white suit there at the keyboards or at the piano. Don't know if you can quite see that. There he is right there at the far edge of the picture where my finger is. That's Dave Lewis. And he really dominated the Pacific Northwest rock and roll scene. He and his band there opened for, you know, Little Richard, Ray Charles, Jerry Lee Lewis, the Platters, Roy Orbison, Ike and Tina Turner, Gene Vincent and his Blue Caps. So Bill Haley and the Comets was just another feather in his cap, but a nice feather indeed. So the king of rock and roll. Now, I'm afraid by October of '57 he wasn't still, but he was in '55, wasn't he? But still, great, you know, great fun music and really an important part of rock and roll history and evolution. So, hope you had a good time with Haley today. Thanks a lot for coming by, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.